Well, good morning, everyone. I think I'm officially kicking things off for us. What an exceptional event. When I first heard that happiness guaranteed in 30, well, that sounds pretty good. And then I saw that 20 voluntary bars were involved in this great effort. And then I saw who the panel is. I said, how lucky am I just to even be in attendance? You know, we talk a lot about mental health and wellness and stress and how we can be happier people and happier lawyers. This is just an exceptional program. So my free advice to everyone on this Zoom call, pay close attention to the speakers and what they're talking about. And the hardest part, of course, is executing. But it's easier to execute when you have a plan and a structure and parameters. And that's what's going to be discussed today. The Florida Bar takes mental health and wellness very seriously. We know many of our members have challenges. It's a challenging and stressful profession. I'll drop a couple of Florida Bar related links, including our free mental health helpline, into the chat for those who want to take a look. You get 5 free sessions. They're confidential through a third-party vendor. Bar never knows who's called. Make use of all the resources you can, including today, and hopefully we'll be able to look back at a year from now and find ourselves in a better, more mentally healthy place. And congratulations again on a great program, and I'm happy to be here with y'all today.
Thank you so much, Gary. We really appreciate having you and the Florida Bar supporting these efforts. Good afternoon, officially, everyone. My name is Beth, and I am one of the co-chairs of the Broward County Mental Health and Wellness Committee. My co-chair is Arielle Capuano. She is here as well. Braulio from the Broward County Bar. If you don't know him, get to know him. He is the Zoom guru. I want to thank all the bar associations. I would list them if we have the time. I am going to be putting all their names. We have from all over the state. I will say we have from Broward and Dade all the way up to Escambia and Santa Rosa and almost everything in between. I have the privilege of introducing our 3 speakers who are phenomenal. Mark Eiglarsh started this movement a couple of years ago. The rest of us are thrilled to be along for the ride, especially Judge Navarro, and we've brought Melissa Byers in. So just really quickly, because they have excellent presentations, I'm doing their quick introductions. For those of you that don't know Melissa, she is Executive Director Extraordinaire of the St. Petersburg Bar Association since 2013. Prior to being an executive director, Melissa worked extensively in the health and wellness field. She incorporates her wellness background into the Happy, Healthy, Holistic Attorney, their wellness theme, which won the Florida Bar's first Health and Wellness Award in 2018. She's spoken about wellness before for several legal groups, and we're happy to welcome her to our movement this year. Thank you, Melissa, for being here. Yay. Next is the man, Mark Eiglarsh. Mark has been a top-rated attorney for almost 30 years. He specializes in state and federal criminal defense and personal injury matters. An adjunct law professor, devoted husband, proud father of 3 teenagers and a dog, and an avid pickleball player. Mark has made it his mission to help the community, which has been plagued with unhappiness. He's a happiness expert and a published author of the book, Be Happy by Choice, Happiness Guaranteed, or Your Misery Back. And finally, the wonderful Judge Tarlika Navarro. She currently serves as a circuit court judge in the 9th Circuit, but we had her first down here in the 17th Judicial Circuit, and we still miss her. Judge Navarro is actively involved in her community, dedicates her time to mentoring adolescents and teaching the importance of health and well-being to colleges, universities, and young lawyers. We're thrilled she's returned to present again in Happiness in 30 Days, and I turn it over to Judge Tarlika Navarro. Thank you all.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is so exciting. I think it's our 3rd year. I'd like to say thank you to President Lesser for all your support, the Florida Bar, the Broward Bar, all the bar organizations across the state. Thank you to the Wellness Committee for putting this together. As always, it is an extraordinary effort, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So I would like to start off with a disclaimer, which is that none of us have it all put together. So we're doing our best. We're trying our best every day. This is a struggle. This is hard work. It's like marriage, it's parenting, it's running a law practice. It's something that you have to do daily. And I tell you that because I want you all to know that this is an exercise and a practice that you're going to devote the next 30 days to, in order to, be happier, be stronger for your clients, be a better judge if the judges are on as well, because happiness really is an attitude, and we either can make ourselves miserable or we can make ourselves happy and strong. And with the work that we're doing, which is serving others, serving our community, and being the voice for the voiceless, as attorneys, as advocates, and certainly showing up as judges for our lawyers and being the best people that we can be on the bench, it's important for us to also be healthy and happy. I always like to quote former Justice Lawson, who would always say, we have the best democracy in the world and the best system of justice. So when it comes to justice, the quality of justice depends upon all of our judges and upon our lawyers. So it's imperative that we keep our lawyers healthy and mentally sane. So that's what we're here to do with you today. This is a work in progress. This is 30 days that we will live day in and day out together. We have a little outline for you to do. And I just hope that you can have an open mind about this and listen carefully and try to do your very best for the next 30 days. And thank you again for having me and for being here and for showing up for yourself. Now I'll turn it over to Mark, who is one of my very dear friends and a wonderful person. And of course, you know him from many of his local and national TV appearances. Welcome, Mark.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Eiglarsh, sitting in for my dear friend, Dr. Drew. Thank you so much for letting me keep the chair warm for you tonight.
Ludicrous.
Why are you sleeping through Kelly's court?
I really I want to know, Mark.
Is it my turn? Thank you, Kimberly. The sheer length of her arguments affords me the opportunity to catch up on some needed rest. Thank you. But I wouldn't want the burden of proof lowered to get the guy who killed my son. The minute we lower the burden of proof for Zimmerman, for Casey Anthony, for OJ, whoever else you think might have gotten away with it, then when you're arrested, that burden of proof is lowered and we all suffer.
Roland, Mark makes an excellent point here.
There was a poll recently of people who, and apparently Casey Anthony was on the list of the most hated person in the United States, more hated than Sandusky and Bernie Madoff.
You think so? Wow.
And by the way, you know who was number two? This surprised me. Kim Kardashian? For real. For real. Because they can't keep up with her.
Right.
That's the problem.
I think I have an answer. I think it's in Mark's studio. Can you please cut to Mark's studio? Zero in on his studio for me, please. Mark, give me a full screen. There. Mark, the fog.
Yes, true.
What's happening?
What are you talking about?
What have you done?
It's ego that they chose not to bring the Florida Department of Law Enforcement in or the FBI. And I would tell them your ego's not your amigo.
Did you defend her? I mean, you've already taken the other.
Why am I on the hot seat here?
You said that you would not defend the
I'm going to take a pass on this one, too. I like the audience clapping, so I'm going to take a pass on this one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Beth, thank you for that very kind and warm introduction that I totally wrote. It is just insane that this is happening 3 years in a row. I am so grateful that you're here. And I just kind of want to tell you how we got here against all odds. Now, when I see that media montage, I always have two primary thoughts. Number one, wow, I love wearing makeup. It's true. And the other one is how happy I am. You see, I'm helping the public understand legal issues in the most entertaining way possible. And I'm being of service. I'm in the flow. The problem is I'm not always that happy. I look happy there, but then I'd get off the set and I found myself to be kind of miserable at times. You see, I do something weird for a living. I am, looking for the next slide, I am a lawyer. It's a weird profession. And if you're a litigator, you fight for a living. And I noticed that I'd be happy if the judge ruled in my favor, if the prosecutor treated me nicely. Sometimes I'd get what I want, I'd go to the next courtroom and I'd be miserable because one of them wasn't treating me nicely. There'd be times where I noticed that my clients, some of them incarcerated, seemed to be consistently happier than I was. Let me explain that to you. They were physically incarcerated. They were in jail, and I was emotionally imprisoned. I was the one who put myself there. There were many times I did get my way, right? A judge would rule in my favor. I'd be in my car driving back to my office, or later that day, I'd be in my car, and then something horrible would happen. Tragic. Somebody would cut me off. How dare they do that to me? It was on, baby. I did what any normal attorney would do. I surrendered leadership of myself for about a mile until I can catch up to them and give them what I thought that they needed. I'd like to tell you that my precious offspring were never in the car when I acted a fool like that. That would be intellectually dishonest. And there were times where I said, what the hell am I doing? Now, on a personal level, and we're talking 15 years ago easily, my dear wife, who's still my best friend, 23 years of marriage, I adore her, I love her, but things were not always smooth. In fact, there were times where we went through some tremendous challenges, which I call growing opportunities. Halfway through our first pregnancy, after I'd been kissing my wife's belly every day for about 19 weeks and change, we went to get a regular checkup. And my biggest concern would be that the doctor would screw up and tell us what the sex of the baby was. I didn't want to know. And by that, I mean, my wife said, we don't want to know. And I said, okay, like, we're going to be surprised. It's going to be a llama. But anyway, fine, boy, girl, whatever, I'll be surprised. Something far worse happened. The doctor explained that our baby's brain was growing outside of his skull. It was a boy. It was a rare neurological tube disorder known as encephalocele. It affects a fraction of 1% of all newborns. And we were told that our baby would not live outside of the womb. So we were forced to terminate our pregnancy. There was zero happiness, zero joy in our household. And we both had no tools, didn't know what to do, and things were rough. So I resorted to the only thing that I knew how to do. And I said, well, we're just going to, Tony Robbins this stuff. Hey, let's forget about it. I didn't allow her to grieve. I didn't grieve myself. I brought home something that we didn't need. A yellow lab puppy, Star with 2 R's. We had just renovated our home. The last thing we needed was a puppy, but she was wonderful. I got to admit, we put all the love that we had for that son that we never got into this 4-legged creature. And Star was wonderful. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know what all 184 of you who have joined tonight are thinking. The answer is no. I am not, nor have I ever been the 40-year-old virgin. So Star, with 2 R's, because one was not enough for my wife, served us well. And I'm looking off and I'm watching her out the sliding glass door while I'm eating my breakfast. It was one of those mornings where I was probably consumed with fear because, I don't know, it was a Monday or any day ending in Y. And I watched as she was gnawing on a softball that had inadvertently gotten into our yard because our neighbor's daughter was on the high school softball team. And she was gnawing at the leather portion of the softball. And I said, I wish I was half as happy as that dog. Later that day, my wife said, we got to take Star in to the vet. Talking about, really? Vet bills? Come on, honey. The doctor said, you're lucky you brought her in. She had ingested the leather portion of the softball. So every time she was trying to get it out, the string was separating, was attached to another mass, and it was going back and forth. I will never forget to this day the noise that my wife made when the doctor said, Star didn't survive surgery. There was no happiness. We were back to square one again. We had no tools. It was misery. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being sad in those situations, but it just kept going and going with no end. So people say, was that your bottom line? Is that when you began this flaky, happy wellness path? Oh no, I had not hit rock bottom. Rock bottom happened when I was at a gas station in Hollywood where I live with my family. And I was leaving the gas station, probably very cantankerous, from the day. I didn't get what I wanted in court, right? And some woman was yelling, the thing. And I ignored her. I just kept driving towards the exit, driving. The thing. Her gestures became more pronounced, her voice even louder. The thing. And she's pointing to my car. And what she was pointing to, I put down the window. I said, what? She goes, the thing. I had driven away from the gas station with the pump still in my car. I will tell you that those things are not inexpensive to reattach. I do not advise it. But at that moment, my behavior had become intolerable to me. You know why? Because any normal person would have said, oh, thank you for telling me. In that moment, I looked at her and I said, why didn't you tell me sooner? Ooh, my behavior sucked. I needed to change. But what do? We don't have the lessers of the world who are leading this wellness challenge and the Dory Foster Moraleses and those who made it popular in the bar to explore wellness. I didn't know what to do. Anything that had happiness in the title, I read. Any seminar, anywhere, my life depended upon it. I didn't want to be on a roller coaster of emotions. I wanted to dictate the terms of my life. I wanted to decide when I was going to be happy. Not easy to do. So I did everything. I needed to do it for my family. That's them more current. Now they say, get the hell out of my room. God bless them. I needed to do it for my angel. And by that, I mean, not that one, my dog Angel, who replaced Star. And so mute yourself if you can, whoever that is. So what I did was everything. I went out to the Deepak Chopra Wellness Center in Carlsbad, California to learn how to meditate. Folks, you don't need to go out to a seminar out there to learn how. Judge Navarro is going to tell you how to do it. If you see anybody whose mic is still on, just mute them, somebody, okay? Whoever that is, if somebody can mute.
I'm looking for it right now.
Thank you so much. See, I'm going to choose to be happy in spite of some level of awareness. Is lower than
Marquita Green, please mute yourself.
Judge Green, thank you so much. You sound great, but I think they want to hear me right now. Thanks. So Deepak Chopra Wellness Center. My wife even was on her own journey as well. And she said, there's a place we can go and we could study bees. Really? Why? Because when you study bees, you learn, okay, so we study bees. And I learned from that too. People say, Mark, on your spiritual journey, are there things that you absolutely said no to? I will share this one story. My wife came to me, she goes, there's a place in Phoenix, super cool place, where you get to paint on horses. I looked at her and I pictured myself on trigger, like trying to balance myself and a paintbrush. I said, how the hell is that going to make me happier? She goes, no, you don't understand. You paint on the horses. The horses are the canvases. I'm thinking, how is that more normal? And so I said to her, honey, listen, I've done a lot of things for my growth at this point, for our family, for you, but I'm not going out west to pay a fortune to paint on a fakakta horse. So here's my painting. Yeah. A funny thing started to happen. After all these seminars and books and studying people who had what I wanted, I started to actually get better. I was dictating the terms, and it led me to write a book. And what I'd like to do is share with you from my book some of the tools that helped me get better. Now, listen, as it was said earlier, we're not perfect. No one on this video chat is happy all the time. But the goal is to be as happy as you choose to be. All the skeptics in the room, and there are some, I know that there are, because I was one of them. Like, what does it matter? Just, make more money and then I'll be happier. That's what I thought for a while. I present to you a study published in the Harvard Business Review that talked about the value of happiness in the workplace. So happy employees or happy lawyers produce 37% greater sales, are 31% more productive, suffer 23% fewer fatigue symptoms, and are 300% more creative. So whether you do it for yourself, because we're here for a limited time and you just want to be happier, or because it makes business sense, please listen very careful to the principles that we're sharing with you. The formula to reclaim happiness is real simple. thought, feeling, manifestation. First, we have a thought, then we feel a certain way, and then we show up and we manifest. So we're in this program going to teach you ways to help with your thoughts. You've got to change your thoughts to change how you feel, to change how you show up. Just remember, the person in charge of your happiness is just you. This is my license plate that serves as a daily reminder to who is responsible for your happiness. And also remember, as we discuss this program with you, that we were all born happy. If we're not happy at any given moment, you're responsible. Stop blaming the judge. Stop blaming your kids, your wife, as I used to do. It's us. We can change our thoughts. Everybody's just doing what they're doing. It's our reaction to it that's going to dictate how we feel. There's always that skeptic in the room saying, and there was a lawyer, a young female lawyer, raised her hand recently, even though I said questions at the end. She said, I don't agree. I think we're born miserable and we spend our lives scrounging for an ounce of happiness. To that, I said, well, you may be right. But to you all, I say, Exhibit A. Have you ever seen a toddler? As long as their basic needs are met, they're happy, they're joyous, and they're free. Exhibit A. That was us. What the hell happened to us? We continue to download thoughts that do not serve us well. It is time to decide. Aristotle said, take charge of your thoughts. You can do what you will with them. So you got to go to your brain, the most complex machine on the planet. It serves you well in so many respects. It controls your muscles. It controls your organs. It even saves your life. Is that Jaws? Is that Flipper? My brain's going to tell me, and then I'm going to react. Thank you, brain. But my brain is also doing this. Stinking thinking. The average person has 50,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those thoughts are thoughts that do not serve you well. 90% of the thoughts that we have today are the thoughts we had yesterday. The same thoughts we're going to have tomorrow. We must change those thoughts. Enough with the fear. Enough with the criticizing and comparing. Enough with the disciplining. This program is so simple. I'm going to send you all the program in the interest of time. I'm not going to go through it all, but we're literally every day going to send you another email so that you know exactly what you need to do. For the first week, baby steps, 1 minute of meditation, and you're going to hear what that consists of. One thing for which you're most grateful. I'll talk to you about gratitude in a little bit. It's super easy. And as I conclude, just smile. It's so simple. Change your thoughts and just smile. Fake it till you make it if you have to. All right, you'll hear more from me later. I turn the program and I yield, and I think I landed my plane on time.
Melissa?
You're on mute.
I apologize. Thank you. Thank you, Mark, as always. It's always such a pleasure to hear your presentation. And I hope that everyone takes to heart much of what Mark shared. When I speak around the state about wellness, I often talk about all of the tools and the principles and the things that we are going to share today are so valuable. But there are so many challenges that stand in our way. And so sometimes it can feel a bit like you're in the middle of a battle and you're a warrior. And as a wellness warrior, we are encouraging you today to move forward, to take the steps that Mark is going to outline in just a moment to get to the place that Mark is talking about. But first, we want to talk about why. So why are we here? Why is it important to embrace these principles? As many of you know, some of the statistics are very disheartening when it comes to the law profession. 3 times more likely to suffer severe depression, suicide rate double the national average, and double the national average of alcoholism. You also may have your own personal why. Why are you here today? Why did you make the decision? And the reason I'm asking you this is because as we start into this 30-day journey, the first few days, you're excited, you're ready. day 5, 6, 7, 8, there are going to be things coming at you that is going to stand in your way. So it's important to think about, do I want to have health? Do I want to have increased productivity? Do I want to look at my own genetics and make a change and create a change for my family? Do I want to reduce my anxiety, my depression? Do I also want to be prepared? There are wellness challenges that come along. We may have solid tools in place, but I can tell you, as Mark just shared, when the storm hits, you need to know what your tools are. And if you lose your tools for a moment, and it can happen, you can go through a very challenging time. It could be challenging within the day, minute by minute, from empathy fatigue with your clients, challenges with the opposing counsel, demands of others. If you want to be prepared throughout the storm and throughout the day, your wellness tools need to be implemented, and they need to be practiced daily, and they need to be there because, again, when you come out of the storm, you'll need to lean on them. The sign on the right is a sign that's in my bathroom that I look at every day. And I use that as my anchor. How others treat me is their path, but how I choose to react is my own. But as we start to move forward, you need to look at where you are today and what brought you here. Because we know that change can be challenging, but let's look at why it's so important to change, because stress, anxiety, high levels of cortisol, high levels of adrenaline, which are part of this culture, it's a part of life, can cause some physical symptoms, and the physical symptoms can lead to greater symptoms. When we look at burnout, and as I just said a moment ago, the ABA slide so clearly identified that 7 out of 10 would leave the profession. When I speak around the state, I'm always approached at the end by someone who shares a personal story about something that happened, whether it was with a client, opposing counsel, or someone within the judiciary. And they want to ask me, how do I stop this? And as Mark said, this is an inside job. Self-care is related directly to you and what you do to keep your center, despite what's coming at you. But when you get to this place of burnout, it can be challenging to come back. So that's why tools are important to implement and maintain every day. And if you can do this for the next 30 days, it'll be the step that takes you into the next wellness step in your life. So symptoms of burnout may be something that you may not recognize, but it's important to know when they start to come forward that maybe you need to start to implement and lean into your wellness practices. I think one of the most interesting ones to me is reduced problem solving, sticking to less complex tasks. If you feel like throughout the day, you are not moving forward, you are not the rock star you typically are, you feel like you're just getting weighed down, that can be symptoms of burnout, lowering your standards. If you feel like you're ready to leave the profession, if you feel that maybe I'm not the person I was, maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe I can't do this, that's imposter syndrome. That is losing confidence in yourself and your ability to do the job. And it may simply be that, as Mark said a moment ago, you're at that place where you're recognizing, I need to put some tools in place. I need to start to practice some self-care. And to know that self-care is strength. Self-care is not selfish. And it's something that we all need to give each other permission to do. But as you go into the next 30 days, you may start to revert back. And that's okay, because as Mark and Judge Navarro pointed out, we are not perfect. We're all working at this. But as Tony Robbins said, many of us do cling to our fears and our doubts and our unhealthy habits, because there's a certain distorted security and familiar pain. It feels safer to embrace what we know than to let go of it for the unknown. Our minds will manufacture excuses for keeping us where we are, afraid to try something new. So I encourage you to also know that there will be challenges that you can be aware of ahead of time. And then as you go through the 30-day challenge, keep coming back to your why. Why am I doing this? Come back to the fact that you want to keep your center. You want to be a change agent in this culture. You want to be centered when things are coming at you. So why is it a challenge? We know that there are several challenges within the law profession as a whole. Also, what defines you? Sometimes I hear, people tell me it's so challenging because I don't want opposing counsel to use this against me. If I talk about where I am, or if I talk about the fact that I need to take care of myself, some self-care, I don't want that to be seen as a weakness. So how do you identify yourself? Know that strength can come through this and give each other permission to create wellness. It also could be that you have just simply a lack of education, not knowing the science behind when Mark talks about meditation, when he talks about gratitude. To know that there are clear science that indicates how this can change for you, your overall physiology, your overall mental state, that you can become more clear in your thoughts, less brain fog, less burnout. But again, as you start into the 30 days, you may start to feel, I'm getting pushed off of my priorities. I know it was a priority. I started out strong at the beginning of May. I said I was going to do it. Now here I am, day 20 or day 15, and other things are coming in. Put the big rocks in first. Know that you can't have it all. We think we live in a have it all culture and we want to keep going, and we get into an adrenaline addiction. We get into this identity of being this strong, keep going. We don't want to appear as if we can't do what's in front of us. Any challenge, we want to say yes to it. Any request, we say yes to it. That's again, imposter syndrome. That is feeling that maybe we don't belong here. So you know what? I don't want to say that I am struggling, or I need a little bit of space, or I need to carve out some time for my own wellness, meditation, my gratitude journal. Adrenaline addiction is something that we know is a part of the culture. And I want to read just a quick quote from The Painful Reality of Adrenaline Addiction. There's something particularly insidious about adrenaline addiction that makes it hard for many leaders to kick the habit. Unlike other addicts whose behaviors are socially frowned upon, adrenaline addicts are often praised for their frantic activity and even promoted for it. So they wear their problem like a badge of honor, failing to see it as an addiction at all in spite of the pain that it causes. And when confronted about their problem, adrenaline addicts will tell you about their endless list of responsibilities and all the people that need their attention. And while they'll often complain about their situation, they'll quickly brush off any constructive advice from others who just don't understand. We also have challenges when it comes to cortisol, fight or flight. As I said a moment ago, people always approach me and tell me, I don't know how to handle what's coming at me. And so you know what, when you're in that state, you're in fight or flight. And you sometimes can't fight and sometimes you can't flight. And when that happens, we have an overproduction of cortisol. And you know you have an overproduction of cortisol if you are tired but wired at the end of the day. So how do you combat that? Again, Judge Navarro in just a moment is going to speak about some of the tools that we are encouraging you to implement. And one in particularly when she talks about meditation, breath work, I can tell you there's science behind it that clearly shows that it will bring down those levels of cortisol. It will take away that tired but wired feeling at the end of the day, and that will lead to better sleep, and better sleep will lead to better health. So all of the wellness tools that you can put in your tool basket are important, but again, starting with some of these simple strategies that we are going to share today will start the cascade. So as I said at the beginning of this, the ABA slide, higher rates of depression, alcohol use. If we can lower the cortisol in our bodies through breathing, meditation, gratitude, reduce our anxiety, improve our immune system, use the tools that we have. But again, it's up to you to make the decision that this is going to be a habit that you can put in, that you can do on a daily basis, that you will lean into it. When you hit those challenges and the pushback, you'll keep moving forward. Know that you can create a cultural shift for others around you as well. So define yourself as someone who embraces health and wellness. Give yourself some permission to practice self-care. Have those conversations. Map out your day. Decide what it is that you're going to do to embrace your wellness. Start with one thing, and then I encourage you to be a change agent. Recently, I spoke to a group, and they specifically told me about a challenge with a judge. And when they spoke to me, I thought about Judge Navarro, and I thought about this presentation today, and I thought about Mark and Broward County bringing this forward, and all of the bar associations who are going to be a part of this today. So if we all can embrace our wellness and be better, we are a change agent, and we give others permission to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. That was amazing. As always, your presentations are always wonderful. And I thank you for the work that you're doing for our bar and for our lawyers out there, and hopefully also our judges. So I'm tasked with talking to you about meditation and acts of kindness, because they are 2 tools that we're going to give you throughout the month and ask that you complete. So the first week, you're going to be doing 1 minute of meditation, and we're going to incorporate random acts of kindness on week 3, and you will all be sent the program. These are 2 of my favorite tools, something that I personally lean on, something that I think is very important for a lawyer or a judge to be practicing daily, because as a lawyer or even a judge, your single most important tool is your mind. And so when you think about meditation, or I call it emptying your cup every morning before you go into the office or before you go on the bench, it gives you that time, and it doesn't take a lot of time. 1 minute is sufficient. 10 minutes is great for you to, first of all, set an intention for your day, how you would like to be treating people, even through the challenges that Mark discussed, all of his challenges, part of his slideshow. And that's why we start off with that, because that's really how our mind is by Thursday or Friday as a practicing lawyer, or a prosecutor or a judge, or, a civil trial attorney who's been in trial all week. We all are, flustered and overwhelmed. So again, my disclaimer is I'm only a judge. I'm not a spiritual guru. I'm not a meditation expert, but these are some of the tools that I practice, and I just would like to share them with you. I share them with my students across the state, and now judges as well, because I believe it's important for our profession. I believe our profession is the best profession in the world. We're here to serve others and to help people with their problems. But in order for you to do that, you have to clear your mind every day. You have to set an intention for your day. So meditation can come in all forms. I talk about flow meditation. You can talk about lying down meditation. You can talk about prayer meditation. It really is endless if you start Googling it and going on the web. There's several apps. I want to say right off the bat, I want to turn your attention to apps that will be able to help you. 10% Happier is one of them. Calm is another good one. I had them here. I just want to give you those. Calm, Happier, 10% Happier. Best overall are some of the best overall apps that you can use. And I urge you to start with those because they're a good way to intro into meditation. But I want to talk a little bit about the scientifically proven benefits of meditation. It will improve your attention. It will help you focus throughout your day. It will help you control your response to others when opposing counsel's trying to trigger you, or if you're a judge, if counsels are in your courtroom and they're trying to trigger you. It allows you to take a deep breath and to recenter. And to kill them with kindness, right? To react with kindness, to choose kindness instead. And that is a lot of times my mantra for the day. So let's talk about mantras and intentions, or however you would like to title it. It really is your purpose for that day. I'm going to be kind to a stranger. I'm going to promote peace today. I'm going to help someone who needs help. Whatever you choose to do, I ask that you choose an intention for your day, a mantra, to just remind yourself and maybe set a reminder on your phone. I'm going to reach out to a friend today and just let them know that I care about them and I miss them. And then you can be that change agent that Melissa talks about in your local bar community, in your courthouse, in your court room, and your office, someone that you can go to, or someone that someone can come to. You know, if you start living, if you start showing that you are living proof of this, people will come to you and you will be able to help people. And so that's what we're trying to do for you. So I'm not going to teach you and rehash how to meditate like I typically do over the years with this program, because we've run out of time and we have wonderful people. But I do want to say how important it is for the legal community, for you to lean on that one tool. So that's why we ask you to meditate for 1 minute for the first week, 2 minutes for the second week, 3 minutes for the third week, and then 4 minutes for the fourth week, just to see how it changes you. Pick an intention for the day and just focus on that. I want to be a good lawyer today. I want to listen to my clients. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to be more patient. I want to be kind. And let me remind you, meditation is not perfect, regardless of who you are. It never is perfect. And that's what you learn through meditation. You learn how to deal with your thoughts that are coming in and realize and recognize those are just thoughts. They don't control who I am or how I'm going to be or the type of lawyer I'm going to be today. Be gentle to yourself, because none of us are perfect. And we have given you that disclaimer several times today. Remember that meditation is not devoid of thought. It's going to, the thoughts are going to be racing in and out of your mind throughout the meditation. And that's perfectly fine. Acknowledge them and let them pass through. And just be very patient with your practice. Over time, it will get easier for you and you will be able to clear your cup and then set yourself up for a successful day. My other tool is random acts of kindness, which I absolutely love just speaking about this to the bar, because it is so important for us to treat each other cordially and just to be kind to one another, because our job is so stressful. And, you know, when you surprise opposing counsel when you're nice to them. I think we live in such a fast society and the profession that we're in, you know, I think it goes a long way to really make that effort with opposing counsel. Listen, I know you're having a hard day. I just want to let you know, that you're cared for. You know, we are a community of lawyers. We are a statewide community where we want to, we want our profession to be stronger. We want our profession to have a better reputation, right? We want to not be the butt of all the jokes. So random acts of kindness, we only ask that you start that in week 3. You're going to perform 1 random act of kindness, and then week 4 you're going to perform 2, and just let us know how you're doing. You know, you might want to just help an old lady with her groceries, get out of the grocery store, or you might want to help someone in the courthouse when you see them who can't find their courtroom, or you may just want to, like I said, lift up opposing counsel and see how far that can, spread throughout the state. But we just ask that you make an effort to be kind and treat one another in a kind way throughout this program for 30 days and see how you feel and see the chemical substances that your mind puts off and makes you feel a little bit better at the end of the day. And overall, you will be calmer and happier. And at this time, I'm passing it back to Mark because I've run out of time.
Judge Navarro, thank you so much, Miss Birthday Girl. Yay, happy birthday to you. I get to talk about gratitude and connectivity. And I want to say how grateful I am for you, Judge Navarro, for helping me with this program, and Melissa for joining us and speaking, and Beth and Arielle. I'm so grateful to you all. Gratitude is something that I think as kids we learn about, right? Be grateful for that. Be grateful. We don't really know what it is. And for me, it became the antidote to my stinking thinking. So I learned as I preached to you all that we've got to change our thoughts to change how we feel. Well, what does that mean? What do we change our thoughts to? And I have always found that moving to a place of gratitude changes my psychology immediately. Well, what am I grateful for in this moment? And I immediately think of the last breath that I took, because my mother, may she rest in peace, she doesn't have that luxury. So many people didn't wake up this morning. Their limbs weren't working. They weren't able to walk. About a month ago, I couldn't get out of bed. I had 9 to 10 level back pain that required surgery that I had to have 3 weeks ago. Now I'm grateful to be able to get out of bed and walk around and maybe one day play pickleball again real soon. So I'm super grateful. By the way, the 4 major tools of this program are things that I use on a daily basis and would never have you do unless I thought that they were beneficial, super easy to do, and especially for the very busy lawyer. So here's what I do in terms of gratitude. Short list and long list. Short list. Every night before I go to sleep, no matter how tired I am, I pull out my iPhone. You can use a computer or a piece of paper, but the iPhone is great. You go to the notes section, you write the date. You write the top 3 things for which you're most grateful that occurred during the day. I do 5 things. Studies show that 3 things is perfect. Number 1, I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to present Happiness Guaranteed in 30 for the 3rd year in a row with my dear friends, and I'm so grateful. Now, the only thing I will tell you is you can't repeat. So you can't say, I'm grateful for my wife. I did that 10 years ago. Now I'm at the point where, I'm so grateful for my wife that she cooked me a delicious, healthy teriyaki chicken dinner with broccoli and allowed me to rub her feet on the couch while we watched a Dateline murder mystery about a woman who kills her husband. I mean, that's how detailed I am. And I encourage you to be extremely detailed, because how fun is it to look back at what you were doing 5, 10 years ago and how grateful you were. So 2 things happen, and we don't need the study from University of Florida, University of Minnesota to tell us that in that moment, what you're doing is you're decreasing your stress level because you are reliving, as you're about to go to sleep, moments throughout your day that you were the most grateful for, that were bringing you the greatest joy and happiness. So it's changing your psychology before you go to sleep, and you get to relive that moment. And secondly, sleep is so important. So imagine if you have the stinking thinking, oh, tomorrow's going to be rough, or, oh, I didn't resolve these issues today. If you're replacing all that with things that you're grateful for, then you'll be able to fall asleep easier. My wife says it's ridiculous how quickly I hit the pillow and go to sleep. That's because I'm doing the work on a daily basis to keep me happy, joyous, and free. So that's gratitude, short gratitude list, just 3 things. And by the way, with this program, we're just asking you to do 1 thing. I mean, it takes you a second. Then the second week, you'll write 2 things and you move on from that. The other thing we do also is a long gratitude list. Any time of day, whenever you have stinking thinking, just start writing. Write everything for which you're most grateful. And again, what you're doing is you're changing your thoughts. You can only have 1 thought at a given time. And if you're coming from a place of gratitude, which is abundance, you're not coming from a place of lack. And when you're on a wave runner, for example, you can't be unhappy. Similarly, when you're filling your thoughts with thoughts of gratitude, it is impossible at that moment to be unhappy. You can't. So that's gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. We don't need the studies to tell us how it is the antidote to negative emotions. We know that intuitively. Just amp it up a bit. And connectivity. We talk about connecting. What does that mean? It could be as simple as sending an email to somebody that you haven't spoken to in a while. It could be as complex as saying, hey, would you like to grab lunch? Just think of somebody who you haven't connected with in a while and connect with them. We need that. We all have an innate need to feel loved and supported and valued socially. During the pandemic, that was probably our greatest problem. We were very separate, very disconnected. Those damn masks created such a boundary between us. Now we have the golden opportunity to sit down with people, ask them how they're doing and let them speak, and then let them know how grateful you are, bringing up gratitude, to be with them. That's it. It's that simple. Now, it's very easy to choose not to do this. For many years, I just talked about it. I said to people, You should do a gratitude list. You should. I didn't do it. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. I didn't write it down. But studies show that it changes when you actually write things down. But we do that. We say, I should meditate. I should do random acts of kindness. I should connect with people. I should do gratitude. I should lose weight. We wind up shooting all over ourselves. When we say I must instead of I should, that's when the magic happens. That's when the change occurs. I will conclude, because I want to leave some time for any questions if we have, with this quotation from Albert Schweitzer. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know. Those among us who will truly be happy are those who have sought and found out how to serve. Service starts with yourself. It's not being selfish, it's self-love. That's why you put your oxygen mask on first before you start helping anybody else. You're of no use to anyone unless you carve out the time for yourself. I promise you, it's made a pronounced difference in my life. I encourage you to take the time to do it. It's baby steps with this program. And then after the 30 days, once you develop the habit, you'll be off and running. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for at least considering choosing happiness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. That was really incredible. Thank you, Judge Navarro. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Braulio and Broward County Bar Association. Thank you, President Lesser. Thank you for all of you here today for being a part of the solution and really just creating this amazing community here. I'm loving seeing everything in the chat, all these notes. We do have a couple minutes for Q&A if anybody wants to put some questions in the chat. We can also receive questions by email if things come up as you're working this challenge and you're trying to figure out, I have questions, I have these feelings, thoughts, I'm trying to support somebody. We are all available to you. We also have this incredible listserv that we've started that we encourage you to participate in. I know Mark and some of us will be sending some encouraging thoughts. If you have any inspiration on happiness, wellness, share it. If you have any events in your local bar associations that are for May Wellness Month, please share it. Any resources. The bigger our community gets, the more we can help each other. We also have some really great May Wellness programming events. We have a CLE on May 24th on burnout and resiliency, featuring Nunez Aslan and LA Perkins. We also have our closing event for this happiness challenge on May 31st. You can reach all of those RSVP links at the Broward Bar's website. I think it's browardbar.org/calendar. And as President Lesser mentioned, we also have a wonderful resource through the Florida Bar of the Attorney Helpline. You can get referrals for up to 5 free therapy sessions per year and other referrals as well. It is always 100% free and confidential. So let's see if there's any questions in the chat. Again, on behalf of the Broward County Bar Association Wellness Committee, myself and Beth Feeder, Braulio, our amazing team, we want to thank you all for your participation in this event, not just watching, but all of the chats and communications and the way that you will support each other in our community after this for the month and hopefully beyond. I'm looking to see lots of great tips here. I don't see any questions. If anybody has one, you can unmute and speak up. Are we going to get an email with the daily things to do? Mark, I'll let you answer that.
Yes, I promise you that we wanted to land this plane in 1 hour to be completely respectful of your time. And we're going to do it. This is very exciting. We all had so much more to say, but we had to edit it. I'm very excited about that. But I will absolutely every day be sending you emails, and you'll understand more about each of the acts that we're asking you to do. We also, as Arielle correctly stated, we want you to participate. If you see it was wonderful last year, beautiful sunrises, or, oh, I did this random act of kindness, send it to us. Now, there will be some of you who haven't hit their rock bottom and they want their misery back, and that's totally fine. You can let us know. We'll take you off the listserv. That's okay. We wish you well. We absolutely wish you well on your journey. I mean that. No one wants to be inundated. Some people want the CLE. They show up. That's it. And by the way, no one's saying that you have to be happy. You could choose to be miserable. That's okay. That's a choice. I wasn't jumping around when my mother passed away. I allowed myself a period of time to grieve. And then I said, okay, enough. And now I'm going to use the tools and I'm great. I'm great again. So again, we want to encourage all of you to Participate. It's not just me feeding you information. It's a community of people who support each other, who love each other unconditionally, because I mean that. And we all want each other to be happier. If you have any questions, it's not reserved for the next 4 minutes. You can easily email me alone or the community, and I'll answer those questions. But we're with each other, whether we like it or not, for 30 days. Okay.
Can I say so? This is I'm in Tampa. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Brian Tracy, but I worked with him for years, and he teaches mental laws. And one of his laws is the law of control, which says you feel best about yourself to the degree you feel in control of your life, and worse when you feel out of control. So something I learned is I used to teach people how to have temper tantrums, because then you're in control. So if you're a person who has temper tantrums, or you have children who have temper tantrums, it's a great thing to do. You say, how long do you need? And they tell you a minute, and you say, do you want me to pay attention, or you want me to just keep doing what I'm doing? And they'll say whatever you want. And in 60 seconds, you stop them. Are you feeling better? And they'll say yes or no. Okay, I'll give you another 30 seconds. And the best thing to do is trace your feet on a piece of paper, laminate it, put it down on the ground, stamp on it while you're having your temper tantrum, and say pineapple. You cannot help but laugh. You are in total control of your life, and you will go into the rest of your day not having given up your life to whatever you were constructing. I had a client who made those for every member of his team as Christmas present. They each had their own temper tantrum mats. So in the world of being in control and choosing, to Mark's point, you're in total control and have chosen either to have your miserable day or not.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you for sharing that, Deb. That was wonderful. I think we have time for maybe one more question, and I really want to get to this great question from Charlene. Yes, go ahead, Victor.
Hi, Victor DiBianchi. Just a shout out to my good buddy, Mark Eiglarsh, the best criminal attorney in the United States. And as the past president of the Broward Bar, I just want to say thank you. And thank you all, Judge, everybody. Mark, in one sentence, what's the thought for the day, for the rest of the day?
Gratitude. That's it. Just change your thoughts. Now, we're all so grateful. We live in the greatest country ever, no matter what you're going through. Come on, man. We have an abundance of everything. And I'm grateful for you. You did my will. You did a great job. You make me want to die. You did such a great job. Thank you.
Don't die, Mark. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Victor. This last question, and then we'll sign off right on time. Charlene asks, what tips do you have to handle energy vampires? I would love to hear from Judge Navarro on this, if you have any wisdom to share, because you come across all sorts of people day to day and always have the most pleasant disposition. How do you handle people that show up with this dark energy, and what do you do to protect yourself and the people around you?
Thank you for the question. Charlene is one of my mentees, and she is absolutely wonderful up here. She is just a blessing to all the organizations up here. So Charlene, vampire energies or vampires are going to drain you every day, all day, for your entire life. That's the reality of the situation. But it's important that's why I say you empty your cup in the morning so you can give to those people, because really those people need you the most. Okay. So like the defendants in my box, I always make sure I say, good morning. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Of course, they're not feeling well, but I want them to feel like they are being heard. I want them to feel like I care. And when they give me, when they come at me, they just come at me because they're so angry. They've been up all morning since 2 a.m. I say, I hear you. I know you're struggling, and we care about you, because we do. So do the same with your vampires. Do the same with opposing counsel. I know you're having a rough day. We care about you. Is there anything I can do to help you? Kill them with kindness. It works every time. Good luck to you, Charlene.
Thank you, Judge. It's 1 o'clock. We're going to let everybody go since we all have places to be, but this was a really great, impactful program. We appreciate all of the panelists, all of our partner voluntary bar associations, everybody involved. This is a community approach. So thank you all. We hope to hear from you over the next month and see you at some more of our events, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.